Okay, guys, we should be live in Facebook now. Okay, guys, we should be live in. Okay, so if you guys leave me a comment, this is my first live in the group, so send me a message if you can hear this. So we'll just wait a couple of minutes to get started. This is my first time doing a live in here, so hopefully you can hear me okay. Okay, so I don't know why these subtitles are coming in, but anyway, if there are any questions or if you can't hear me or anything like that, just send me a message in the chat, and I will check that every couple of minutes. But anyway, Luna, great for you to join. You are the first person in the first live in the group, so I hope you're having a good day anyway. So what I will do is let me just go into share a slide with you here. It's going to be just covering off basically what we're hoping to cover in today's live, which as we all know is recruitment. So I'll just wait till 5 past, so we've got another minute now. But really the idea for doing this live is many of you will know, I've done lots of little videos, little 2-minute videos in the past in the group, and I've generally got pretty good feedback from them. So I had a number of people ask me for some more sort of extended videos, extended lives. So what I thought I would do, I wanted to ask the group which topic they were having most issues with. And so what, we probably got about 200 votes in the group, and still the number one issue that we're getting or people are having is recruitment. So, I've got my own cleaning business. Recruitment is really difficult, even for me, and I've been doing it for a while now. It's difficult whether you're in the States, in Canada, in the UK, in Australia. It seems to be the same issues all over. So that is just a brief background of why we're doing that. I'm just going to check the comments first, and we'll just jump straight into it because I don't want to keep you guys on for too long. So it looks like we're okay. I'll check this again in a few minutes. Hi, Safar, hope you're well. So just jumping back then. So what I've put here is just a few comments about what we do for recruitment within my own cleaning business. So there's a couple of things in terms of the process that we go about things. So for me, we obviously, we're a business in 4 cities. We've got 40 plus cleaners. A number of them leave every month. It's just natural that you get a churn in the number of cleaners leaving every month. So to grow our business, we need to replace those that have left and add more of them. So when you've got people who are isolating with COVID, when you've got people going back home to look after family, it means that churn rate increases. So we're already working against quite a tide. So this is one of the reasons why people are finding recruitment so difficult at the moment. So the way we've gone about it, there are 2 things that I want to sort of highlight, and this is what we're doing at the moment. This is in live. This is not a theoretical exercise. This is what we're doing at the moment. So there's two key steps in my view, and the good news is that we've gone through these steps and now we're getting a good consistent stream of applicants, good quality applicants. They are out there. It's a small pool of labor, but by using this approach, you can go from having no suitable people to a stream, a consistent stream, and that's really important. So the first thing to say on this side is that what we want to do at the start is focus on volume. And really what I'm talking about here is I'm trying to say, I'm trying to tell you the easiest and most obvious thing to do as a cleaning business owner if you're not getting the volume of applicants that you want is to simply increase the pay rate. And that will increase, the volume of candidates, but making that change is a huge, very significant change that you need to be well aware of. It will completely transform the profitability of your business. If you do it without changing the pricing that you're charging your clients, you will find that your profit can evaporate. And that is because the labor cost is such a dominant cost contributor to your overall business. So what we want to do to begin with is to make sure that we are getting as much volume of applications at the current pay rate as we can get. So what that means is that there were a couple of things that I did in my own business. So historically, maybe a couple of years ago, we only recruited people that were full-time, had full-time availability. We required them to cover our the total city that, we're in 4 cities, but the city that they were based in, they would have to cover, north, south, east, and west within that zone. And, 2 or 3 years ago, we used to get plenty of good candidates, lots of people with great experience, people that stayed with us for a long time, did a great job, great client ratings. But what has happened, obviously, over the pandemic is that the labor pool has shrunk. Various reasons for that. We all know many of the common ones, but what that means is now, the approach that we took maybe 2 years ago doesn't work today. So what we have done is we've kept the pay rate consistent, but we've looked at non-pay rate items as a way to try and attract some people that we might not have even bothered trying to go after before. So for us, now we take on part-timers. We have lots of part-time staff, lots of mums, who do a great job. We also allow people to serve specific parts of the city. So before it used to be the entire area, north, south, east, and west. Now they can say, okay, we're going to go after east or west or north or south. So we've given them that additional flexibility as well. So people who are maybe less willing to travel, people that we wouldn't have even brought on 2 years ago, now we are relaxing that requirement because we know we need to get more cleaning staff into our business. So we are looking at all the non-pay rate items and trying to ease those conditions as a way to try and get more applications through the door, more interviews through the door, more job offers through the door. So that is the first thing to say. Have a look at what your overall package looks like and try and tweak all the non-pay rate items that you can. Try and relax as many of those as possible. Test it, see if we get more applications. So that should help. It's unlikely to reduce the number of applications. It should increase it, but it may not be enough. And this is where this second bullet point here is important as well, because when there was plentiful, cleaning staff, lots of people looking for work, then, many people didn't even spend money on, recruitment channels. Maybe it would have just been through their existing cleaner staff. They might have just asked some of their staff members, have you got any friends or family that are open to work? And that might have given you enough. Indeed, there's a free advertising platform, but mostly it's now sponsored, paid. And historically, depending on where you are in the world, you would have been able to do free Indeed posts, and that would have been enough. But now, using these channels in isolation, is unlikely to bring you the volume of candidates that you need, because, as I said, we're getting a higher churn rate of existing employees or existing staff. So we need to hire more to replace them, and we need more on top of that to keep growing. So what this bullet point here means is that we need to be everywhere we can. So we can't just ask our cleaners if they've got any friends or family that would want to work with us. We can't just go on Indeed. We need to go on Indeed. We need to go on Facebook job posts. We need to go onto Craigslist. We need to look at some of the the HR platforms like care.com and things like that. We need to have a more substantial referral program in place, and this is really key. And I just wanted to spend a minute on this, because asking cleaners, your cleaning staff, good staff in your team, if they've got friends and families, often the best and highest quality source of new candidates for your business. But as we know, that is unlikely to bring you a consistent stream of new candidates unless you are a very large business. Even for us at 40 cleaners, we don't get that consistency that we like. So one way that is a very easy thing to do, and it sort of just turbocharges that referral channel, is to basically give your cleaning staff a referral bonus for each person that they refer to your business. So for us, if one of our cleaners refers a friend or family member to us and they're still with us after a month, we will then give them a certain amount of money. And in the UK, it's about £50. In US dollars, it'd be about $100. And really, that is a drip in the ocean, because if you get a good cleaner who is with you for a year, 2 years, you can think of all the revenue that cleaner will generate. So $100 is really nothing, but having that bonus scheme in place will just turbocharge it. So your cleaners will be on the lookout more for potential people that might be able to join you, and that's what you want. You want to push more applicants through the recruitment funnel. So this first section here is looking at all the important things which aren't related to the absolute pay rate. If we're not getting enough new cleaners in through our door, we need to get more applications. We need to get more telephone interviews. One way to do that is to look at the non-pay factors. The other way to look at that is to make sure that we are advertising in as many places as possible where we think there could be potential cleaning staff. So that is the first section. I'm just going to quickly jump in the group, see if there's any questions. Great. So Luna, what I find here is that a list replies wants to make 20, they don't want to drive, they don't want to be, also looks like they're going, yeah, we go. Should I be? Yeah, so this is very, very common, Luna, and I've just scanned these couple of comments here, but really, you as the business owner should be defining what the job entails. So if you'll get it, if it's not clear on your job advert what you will accept and what you won't accept, you need to make that clearer in your mind. So for example, just looking at this here, if who applies want to make 25 an hour, don't want to drive, and they want to be paid in cash. So for me, my Indeed advert, for example, would say, we pay 25 an hour. We require people to have their own car. The payment will be made into their bank account every week directly. And that, by having that very clear in your advert, it gets rid of all these applications, because one of the key way you will grow your cleaning business, Luna, is by being hyper targeted on the recruitment side, on the cleaners who are suitable for your business. So if you're getting people like this is a waste of your time. If you are only looking for drivers, then if it's clear in your advert, you won't get people through this like this. And if you're getting no recruits or no applicants at all, then this is when you need to be doing, these types of things. You need to be looking at your package, your package. You need to be advertising more channels because you need to get more volume. If your advert and your offer isn't bringing in anyone that's suitable, then this, that means that you need to be spread far wider. So if you're getting people like this and it's not what you're looking for, you need to be clearer in your ad, Luna. So I hope that's clear. And just another comment here. I got to go. She's going to be stopping. She want to be help. She reads that, but Sunday night says, okay. So people like this, you've dodged a bullet really, because if someone like this was, say, 2 weeks into your company, they'd been onboarded, you spend a lot more time, and they've got some regular clients, and then they decide that they're not going to work with you. So, that's even more disruptive. So the issue is that the reality, my own cleaning business, we recruit less than 1% of all people that apply to us. So 100 applications, we will get one good cleaner out of that. So you can imagine how many clicks that we need to spend, how many applications, how many interviews we need to get. We're looking for that one gem. And what you'll find is that many of the sort of high 6-figure, 7-figure cleaning businesses, it's all in between 1% and 5% recruitment rate. So most people that you make a job offer to or onboard won't make it. For us, even if two people start with us on day one, only one of those will pass our 1-month trial. So we will only keep on one. So you need to have a very you need to expect to be disappointed in this industry. Unfortunately, that is my cold and hard experience. Expect to be disappointed by people that you interview, but every so often you will come across that gem, and that's what you need to be doing. You need to be getting enough volume through your funnel to make sure that you're able to get these odd gem, one or two a week. And when you find that, you pounce on them. If you're not getting enough applications through the door in the first place, you will never find these gems. So that's why I talk about volume. Volume is really, really important here. So far, I'll just quickly just make a comment on yours, and I'll go on to the second bit of what I wanted to cover off. So what do you think of adding promotions? For example, if they complete X amount of work hours, they get a bonus of 300 on top. I think it's good. Bonuses can work. There are some people that, as we know, Amazon are offering sign-on bonuses. You might look at that. For us, the way we do it is we do a 1-month trial. And we do things like cleaner of the month. So if someone gets the top rated cleaning staff member in the company, will get some flowers or champagne or something like that. I think bonuses are really good. If they complete X amount of work hours, to get a bonus is good. What you'll need to be thinking about is, okay, they've completed so many hours of work, but half of them have been complaints. What happens then? So, this bonus structure is great. What you might need to be thinking about is what happens if the quality of the work varies at all. The other thing that comes to mind as well is that not every client will give you a rating. So we send out client rating emails after every single job for both commercial and residential. We don't get people that fill in the rating every single time. So again, we need to think, this is a good idea, but it needs thought about what happens when the quality of the work changes. So I hope that's helpful, Luna and Sapphire. I'm going to just jump back into the other part, because this is the other key step. So for us, what happened in my own cleaning business, and you may find similar as well, is that these two things, while they may bring in a good amount of applicants, and if it does, and you're hitting the number of job offers a week and new onboarders a week, then that is fantastic. What we found, we're at 40 cleaners, that this wasn't enough. So that's why we had to move on to, if that doesn't work, then look at the pay. So, if all of this doesn't work, we then look at pay. Pay is the last thing to change, because pay is something that completely changes the profitability of your business, and you should not change your pay without really understanding the significant ramifications of doing that for you. So, unfortunately, we're not in the software industry where we're getting, where you get 90% margins, or a consultancy business, 70, 80, 90% margins are typical. Our industry is an industry where the margins, the profitability is typically pretty low. My business, 7 figures, we're around the 15% profit margin level. So after paying all our cleaners, after paying our office managers, after paying marketing, recruitment costs, we're at 15%. And that is me running a really, really tight ship in terms of costs. So if your labor cost percentage goes from 50% to 70% because you've decided to increase the pay rate of your cleaners, then where does that 20% difference, where is that 20% difference absorbed? That comes out of your profit. So you make that change and not change the price that you charge your clients, then you have a zero profit business. So really, really, really important that you understand the ramifications of this type of thing. So just going through these couple of points here. The first thing to say is that we need to know what the competition is paying. So go onto Indeed, type in cleaners for your location. Indeed, it allows you to do that as if you were a job seeker yourself, and go through, the first 3 pages, look at all the different competitors in your location. How does your offer, look at the job adverts, how does your job advert differ to them? Often you'll find that some other companies may lay out their job advert. It might just look a lot simpler, a lot more eye-catching. You want to be looking at desktop and mobile. You want to be doing the search on both, because a long advert, which might look okay on desktop, might be too much on mobile. So we need to get that middle ground. The other tip I often tell people that I work with is that if you have some large franchises in your area, or venture capital invested companies with lots of money to spend, often those bigger companies would have spent money testing the conversion rates of adverts as well, job ads as well. So it's not a bad idea to try and copy or make your adverts similar in terms of structure and style to them. So that's something just to talk about, the job ad and the copy and the structure. The other thing that we need to think about is the pay rate. So where does your pay sit relative to all the competitors? If you're a job seeker on Indeed.com, searching through, how would your, the hourly rate or the pay rate is something that is visible in the subtitle line. It's you've got the title, maid or cleaners in the location, and you've got the pay rate, and then it's the description. So the pay rate is very prominent. And in this industry, that is what people do look at. So, what I would say is that if you're not towards the top end of the market, then yes, you satisfy the criteria to want, to be able to increase pay. You may be the top payer. If you're the top payer, then there's no point increasing the pay rate further. Maybe you need to go back to these non-pay factors, make your overall package more interesting. Maybe you need to change the ad copy. Maybe you need to change the job ad structure. So if you're top end of the market, don't increase it further. It's not going to make a difference. So if you aren't at the top end, then you want to consider raising it. Maybe you don't raise it to a level where you are the number 1. Maybe number 2 is satisfactory. But that would give you an idea of where you need to move to. Point 3 is important. Point 3 and 4 are really interlinked, because, as I said before, if you raise your pay, your labor cost percentage as a percentage of the price that you charge your client will actually go higher. Your labor cost percentage will increase. So what I talk about a lot is that we really want to be aiming for about 50 to 60% absolute maximum labor cost percentage. So we don't want to be paying more than 60% of what the client is paying us into labor cost. And what will happen is if you increase the pay rate and don't do anything about the client pricing on the other end, you will go above that. And what happens to that? Where does it get paid? It gets paid in your owner profit, and your owner profit will get slashed. So what we need to do here before we raise prices is to check what the client demand looks like. If you are not turning work away, then you don't have an excess client demand, and you shouldn't consider raising your pay rates. Many of the companies I work with, and many of the cleaning business owners that I speak to regularly and coach, they have lots of clients demand. Clients are lining up. We have a waiting list in my own business, so we know that there is an excess client demand situation. And from a basic economics point of view, you've got demand for cleaning services and supply of cleaning services. Your supply of cleaning services is obviously driven by the number of cleaners you have, the capacity. So if you have an excess demand situation, if you have waiting lists of clients, then what you can do is increase the price that the clients will pay, and you will still be able to get work. So it will, if you increase the price, then because you've got excess demand, you are able to do that. So by increasing your client price, that allows you to simultaneously increase the pay rate. And the way to do it without getting bogged down in the mathematics too much is that if you raise both at the same level, you can maintain that same 50 to 60 labor cost percentage. And this is absolutely crucial here, because if you don't increase your client prices, then your labor costs will go too high. And that means that your owner profit will really come down. That's where it gets absorbed. So you need to make a check that you've got client demand. If you don't feel like you're turning clients away, then don't even consider raising pay rates. You need to be thinking about trying to make your offer more attractive. But if you do have a waiting list of clients, if you are turning clients away, then yes, okay, let's increase the pay rates, but only increase the pay rate to the level where you're not above this 50 to 60% level. So, what we have done in my own business is that we looked at the market, and I said, okay, we need to raise our rates by 12% to get to be the number 2 player here. So increasing the labor cost, the pay rate by 12%, what do we need to increase the pay rate for our clients to maintain our same labor cost percentage? So that is the approach you need to take. Once you've done that, what you should find is, because your pay rate's gone up, because these non-pay factors have improved, is that you will start to get more. You get it's the biggest driver of applications. You will get more recruits, and that's what's happened with us. We've had to increase our pay rates by about 25%, but we've increased our client pricing as well to maintain this labor cost percent. So the way we do that is that new clients would get put onto that higher rate, and then you would need to think about what you do with your existing client base. For us, if someone has been with us for a while, a year, 6 months to a year, we might try and put in a graded price increase. If they have just joined us and they're just getting used to our services, we might hold off for a little while, because the reason why we want to look at the existing client base is because this final point is super important as well. So there's no point in making all these gains bringing in new cleaners if your existing staff feel underpaid and jump to a competitor that is paying more than you. So once we make this price increase, then we really want to be thinking, okay, we want to try and bring our existing staff up to that same level. Because if they're on Indeed and see that you're advertising at a higher price, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to have a very awkward conversation. That at a minimum they'll be annoyed. The other end they'll leave. So it's that process of what you do with your existing clients and your existing staff to maintain that. There will probably be a disconnect. You may try to increase the pricing for some of your existing clients and then bring up your cleaners. You may not be able to put through the entire price increase at one go. But what's more important is that you are on top of this labor cost number, because many of the companies that I work with do not put enough focus on that number. So a really quick, run through of what we've done today. At the moment, we're in a good position. Our pay rates have gone up 25% in 6 months, but we've passed on that cost with higher pricing. We're now getting consistent, high quality candidates through the door. So, I hope this has been helpful. I will just jump back into the group, see if we're getting any other questions. So, Luna, how often do you raise prices? Really good question. So at a minimum, yearly, annually. A lot of people tend to do it at the beginning of the year at the moment. I think that's a really bad idea personally. What time of the year do people have least money? It's after Christmas, it's in January. So why give them an additional incentive to cancel your service? So what we do as a business is that we do it on the anniversary, the yearly anniversary that a client joins us. So we in our systems, we know the date that the first recurring client joins us, and then after 1 year, that will be when the price increase will go through. So what we tend to do is that we will put through an annual price increase of 5%, because it's in around that level of inflation. And most clients will understand that, they'll accept that. If you're putting through price increases higher than 5%, 10, 15%, then you'll likely need to explain why the price increase has gone through. You'll probably get some more pushback, you'll get some more cancellations. And this, again, is something that happens often with people that don't put annual price increases through. If it's been a few years, you'll need to increase your prices 10, 15, 20% because you've missed all those prior years as well. So you need to get into that process. Going back to the last point on the slide, this is where you will need to make a call, because if a client has just signed up with you at whatever it is, say $40 an hour, and they signed up with you say a month ago, and then you've contacted them to say actually it's going up to 45, then that you'll need to explain that. So if it's an annual price increase going from 40 to 45 or 42, whatever that level is, then that is more understandable for the clients. So I hope that's answered your question there, Luna. So we're at past now. So what I wanted to do was just keep these sessions really succinct, to half an hour. I didn't want to be going on for an hour. The idea is that if you guys have found this useful, I'll plan to do this every week. I know the timing is not perfect, but we would do it at the same time next week. The issue is because we have people in the group from all over the world: US, Canada, Pacific, East. We've got people in the UK, we've got people in Australia, New Zealand. So what I've done is I've tried to book a time which it captures people as much as possible. So I do hope that's been helpful, guys. If there's any other questions, just leave a comment underneath the live video and I can come back to you, even after we've finished this. If you want to get signed up and get more engagement on the actual session next week, I'll leave a link to the page on my website where you just enter your email and you get the Zoom link before, and it can be a bit more of an interactive session. But otherwise, I hope that's been helpful. As you guys know, I also have a coaching program. We go into recruitment in a lot more depth. I think, to be honest, if you nail recruitment, if you really understand how it works and track everything properly, then you will grow a very large business. So, do let me know. Feel free to message me if you want any more information on that. But otherwise, next week, what we'll do is cover off systems and processes. It was the number 2 highest voted thing when I asked people what they would like to hear. So, I look forward to seeing all you guys next week. But otherwise, thank you for bearing with me, on this first live. I hope there wasn't too many tech glitches, but otherwise I will catch you guys next week. So have a fantastic day. And as I said, let me know if there's any questions, comments, and I'll come back to you. Many thanks.